And I'm going to
Bam.
just start recording it. This is just going to be the show. This is going to be the
Oh,
whole show.
well, that's good.
Pre-show and everything. This is just it.
It's like
Hello.
one of those special ones.
Hello, chat room. We're here. We're talking about Halloween, the
The
movie
movie.
series that
Not.
mostly features Michael Myers.
Wait, are you telling me that Wayne Campbell is the star of Halloween?
Yes,
That it's Austin
he
Powers
puts on
himself?
William Shatner's face and stabs people.
That all of a sudden got really, really messed up.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like the WoW Halloween event I did today. You sure about this, John?
Nope, that's exactly what happens.
I'm
And
gonna mute myself for a minute and go see if I can appease a cat. I'll be right back.
After he stabs them, he goes, "I love gold." So, look forward to that in theaters right now. Chat room, it's lovely to see you all you wonderful people. Ben's left us already. Maybe I should run the show tonight instead of Tet. He's a tank. I do what I can, but I'm a rogue.
Okay, John, I need to figure out where the sound's coming from because I've muted the Twitch stream, but I'm still hearing it.
Interesting. It's probably coming from me. I just exude Twitch stream.
Nope, there, I killed the stream. Even though I had muted it, it still was coming sound, so I just killed the chat room for now. I will try it and see what happens.
I would mute the chat too. They're being a little harsh on you already. They're saying you take charge. You're a man of action. They're saying it like it's a bad thing, Tet. People like decisive people. It's how you survive.
Right. Only when the intro's in danger, that's when they don't like it.
Well, we cut the intro because too many people got it wrong.
Which is just sad.
You were one of those people.
No, I got it right.
No, you got it too right.
Exactly.
You got it right as if it were a different show. Alright. The raid leading is happening in the chat. Tell us the strat. That's Ro or Ben's job. Mostly Ro's. If you are very sleepy, I would advise you watch a video instead.
Yeah. No, so you missed popcorn. I start doing the boss strat and Ben whips out the popcorn and then everything just goes smoothly from there.
Yeah. I will spam emotes in the chat if Ro's doing a description of just Eos dies, Eos is dead, Eos is no longer with us, Eos decomposes. I feel bad. Ro puts in good work. He gives a thorough strategy. It's definitely for some people.
Just out of curiosity, are you going to tell... I know you've announced it several times, but just so the chat room doesn't think this is the BlizzCon episode, are you going to talk about that up front?
No,
No, they'll know
Damn
it
it.
when it happens.
they'll find out at the end.
Oh, they'll know it when they see it?
Exactly, you're a Murloc.
Oh man, look at the Lagging Balls crew showing up. Hello,
Hey.
Lagging Balls.
Hey, ballers.
Hey, look at that. That is a name for him.
I wonder what the Kenny Bunkport surprise is.
Well, you're gonna have to listen to Lagging Balls to find out, Ben.
Well, John, that's just a stream they do. It's not the actual show.
You're gonna have
The
to.
Friday nights is the stream.
You're gonna have to. Yeah, you can still listen to them.
I don't know if they archive their videos.
You go to past broadcasts. They don't have to archive it.
Sometimes.
Are
they
you
do.
saying you're so busy that you're not gonna get to it before it expires on Twitch?
Well, how long
There's
before it
little
expires?
thing coming
Hi,
up
I'm
on
Ben.
BlizzCon.
I've got so much to do. I can't go back and click previous broadcasts.
How long do they stay if you don't archive them?
I don't know. It's not my problem. I watch it immediately. If I care, I watch it. That's why I've
You know
seen
what?
both of your Last of Us streams, Ben.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try and stream again tomorrow.
I will try to watch it. And if I
It is-
miss it, I will watch it very quickly on past broadcasts.
I do upload it to YouTube almost right away.
I think I gotta go to YouTube.
I know.
Yeah.
That YouTube.com, I don't think that's going to last.
Hey, it's Ro. We were just talking about you.
We were?
I was.
Oh, is that when I was away?
Yes.
I was
Raid
telling
strats with Ro.
was telling everybody that Ro provides a very specific service for the raid, and it helps very specific people.
John records Ro giving raid strats so he can fall asleep at night.
To be fair, though, he hasn't been giving raid strats lately. It's been Tet, and I've been eating popcorn during them.
I should be able to, Ro. I don't have anything going on. I would appreciate a message on Sunday to remind me, though, because I will forget. I know myself well enough to know... Can you all not hear at all? What's going on? Alright, I'm done with you.
Sorry, no. Sarah needed to talk to me about something, so I took the headphones off so I could hear it. And then I was putting it back on, and then Tet was motioning with the headphones, and then so I started doing it too. We just had our own fun little game.
Alright, well, that was fun. Nobody could see it, but it was fun.
Yeah, I know.
We could see
speaking
it.
of,
That's the important.
For no reason, I'm going to switch to this. None of it matters.
No,
We're not doing a pre-show. We're not doing a post-show.
Okay.
This is just the show.
Well, like podcast-wise, there's a pre-show and a post-show.
Welcome to Azeroth Roundtable.
Oh,
wait,
no, no,
I
no,
Look
can't
at
think
what?
of-
Look at the bullshit. Look at it. It's already starting.
Well, like I said, John, are you ready
Am I ready for what?
to, have a show, to record the show and start it?
Mm-hmm. I am.
Okay.
Man, next week is our last show before BlizzCon. It is the BlizzCon show.
Next week is, yeah.
Yeah, not this
Yeah,
week.
you actually have to prep for that one.
I mean, do I, though?
I would say you've got about like 10 minutes of prep.
Let's see how improv we can make it this year.
Okay. Ted, are you ready for the show to actually start?
I am.
Okay. Well, I've still got a cat going crazy. Sarah is trying to wrangle, but as long as you guys can't really hear too much, I think we're good. So,
I'm sorry, what?
with that, welcome to Azeroth Roundtable, episode 291. My name is Ben Bumhofer. I have an update in the continuing Brownie saga, and with me,
Yeah.
as always, is John Jagger. How's it going, John?
Hi, Ben. It's Friday night here in Azeroth, and nobody will be able to pull out their earbuds for another update in the Brownie saga, the
Apparently-
lesser-known Dragon Ball Z saga, in which
that one
a
lasted one
lactose-intolerant Goku deals with milk products.
That's why he actually gets sick in the before Trunks shows up.
Yeah, it was in the movies. It's not considered canon traditionally, but, some people liked it.
Exactly. Yeah. But John, we're not alone this week.
Oh,
I
we're
thought
not.
you'd respond to that.
Oh,
so-
hey, look, we're not. Whoa!
Surprise!
Tetsemi, everybody. Raid leader extraordinaire, friend to all, and spreadsheet master Tetsemi is here.
Howdy.
How's it going, Tet?
It's going well. Roundtable, Friday night. I gotta agree with John.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so anyways, Brownie Saga.
Yeah, let's really hit that.
Last week, John, you mentioned that the best brownies you ever had were made by Kelly. And
Yes,
I had
that's
said
true.
that I, despite having worked with her for many, many years, had never had those brownies.
That's right.
Guess who brought brownies to work today so I can have one?
Oh, really? She
Oh,
did.
yeah.
And how were
did.
they?
They were fantastic.
Aren't they good?
Oh, yeah. Just absolutely amazing. I was very happy with that.
Was it purely because of this show?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Well,
Thank you,
I'm
Kelly.
pretty sure. I mean, she did bring it in for my Friday meeting, so that was pretty cool. But I think it was mostly like 90% because of the show.
Well, I'm going to say a thank you on the show on the off chance she's listening, hears it. It is important that Ben got to try that, and I'm glad that they did not disappoint.
Well, she is in the chat room right now, so I'm assuming she's listening.
Oh, all right. Well, even better.
Yes.
I'm paying attention to things around me. Hello.
I know you don't do that. It's fine. That's what I'm here for. But anyways, no, they were very good, and do have to say that non-chocolate frosting, pretty good.
Yeah. Frosted brownies. All right.
Yeah, I'm on board with the non-chocolate frosting.
I
Did they have chocolate chips?
Yes, they had some chocolate chips on top. It was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, so Brownie Saga, I think at this point is over, and believe it or not, that generated more responses than we normally get from an episode. So
Turns out, Spirit
people
Bomb.
are into brownies.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, no, not the Spirit Bomb.
Not the Spirit Bomb. Wasn't.
Instead of giving
I
your
like
energy,
that
give
that
me
was
your
a
brownies.
major point of contention for our show. Like, you know, you guys have been pretty good lately, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I'm giving our show undue credit, maybe. But anyway, I've liked the show recently. It's been doing all right. But you know what? I'm sick of your opinions on brownies. Keep them to yourself, because you're wrong.
It's important stuff. You know what else is important stuff? Content in World of Warcraft.
Uh-huh.
Not the best transition.
Go on.
So, John, the most amazing thing happened.
Congratulations.
I dropped about thank you. I dropped about 100,000 gold so I can buy a whole bunch of anchorweed so that I could level up my alchemy to the point where I can make cauldrons, which
Okay.
I was really happy about. I actually hit 150 in alchemy, so I can do that now.
Congrats.
The downside is that they require hydrocores, which you can only get in heroic and mythic dungeons.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, I'm sure there are some people who might drop a cauldron in a heroic or a mythic. I think it's more of a raid thing, but whatever.
Okay.
I'm not here to complain. This is not what this is about.
I don't know. You're
Hold on.
veering awfully
I
close
know,
to the
I
side
know.
of that road
I'm
there,
like-
Ben.
Look, I'm bumping on the line. I'm braille driving at the moment. So,
That what it's called?
well, yeah, when you're just, it tells you when you're in the lane or not.
Oh. I was
Yeah.
picturing you like rubbing against a rail that like kept you from going off the side of a cliff. And I was like, I call that like basically wrecking.
Well, yeah, that would be wrecking. That'd be pretty bad.
Okay.
No, the thing that I actually want to talk about, and the fact that Hallows Eve is going on right now kind of ties into this as well, and stuff like that, is that Blizzard has so many different things in the game that you can do, which is great. But something that they have a hard time with is getting people pointed to some of those different activities and stuff, or getting people to try things out that they're just completely adamant against. One of the biggest examples this expansion is war mode. You and I have talked about a couple times at this point that, I never had any plans doing war mode. You kind of forced me into it,
Mm-hmm.
and it turned out to be one of the best times I've had in game so far this expansion. And it got me thinking. It's like, okay, so hydrocores, it's kind of forcing me to do dungeons if I'm going to, actually provide these things for raid.
Yeah.
I get it. So I brought up Hallows Eve because of the long strange trip achievement, which, if you remember Children's Week, that is the time that everybody hates when they're trying to get that achievement, because it requires you to do Alterac Valley and a couple other battlegrounds. You have to have your kid out and stuff like that. So thinking about this and all the different things that are actually, available in game, I thought, what are some of the best ways that Blizzard's actually steered people towards stuff? And can we come up with any other good ideas?
Before we go too far away from what you just said, I just want to
Okay.
point out that I had a very brief on-stream existential crisis when you said with your kid out, where for a brief moment, not super long, but for just a microsecond, I thought I had a kid and panicked about it. Because I really felt irresponsible in that instant. It's better.
Well,
It's over now. I'm back on board with the topic, but I just wanted to point out that parental instincts I didn't know I had kicked in for a fraction of a second.
Well, John, we'll say this, and just to reassure you, as far as I know, you have no biological children or baby goats.
That's a shame. Baby goat would be fun.
They are kind of cool. I
My
will give you
dad would be into it too. Apparently, my dad watches baby goat videos.
that. Like just for entertainment.
Just he's on the internet. He's gotten to watching baby goat videos. That's his internet progression thus far.
Okay. Okay. Has he gotten to the goats screaming like humans yet?
I don't think so. I think right now he
Oh,
just likes
okay.
watching baby goats jump up and down. Like that's
That is
basically where he's at.
that is totally going to be putting um the like in the watch next thing that's soon going to be in suggested. Goats screaming like people.
It's the
Exactly.
best impression I could do for the show. Tet, why don't you go first, seeing as I got distracted by children I don't have and goats.
Yeah, I'm honestly trying to think of something that Blizzard has done in game to point us to an in-game system. The the only thing that honestly comes to mind is and this is the reason it comes to mind is because I have a complaint at the end of this. Um,
Keeping it positive, Ted. Just
no,
don't.
no, I'm keeping it positive. Is so I've played both the Alliance and the Horde storylines all the way through. The Alliance side got you to every single dungeon, including the mythic Siege of Borealis dungeon, with a breadcrumb from the quest.
Okay.
So you were encouraged to go do this, kind of like you were, Ben, with the Anchorweed and to go see Waycrest Manor,
Mm-hmm.
which you probably wouldn't have done except if it came up randomly when you were running dungeons, right?
Well, that and I heard good things about it, but
Right. The the Horde side, there is no breadcrumb to get you to go do King's Rest on Mythic. It's just out there. It happens to be in the same area, dealing with a certain quest line with Basambi and a certain Horde chief and all that, but there's nothing that points you at that dungeon. So I think they've done a really good job of getting you to the dungeons, except for that one they kind of dropped the ball on. So that's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
that's actually a good way of doing it because I mean something that they did when they revamped Cataclysm. Well, revamped the world, not just Cataclysm, but is of course putting all the quests in the one single zone, but pushing you towards dungeons as well. Putting the quests inside the dungeon, so you actually have to physically enter it in order to turn it in. Whether you actually run it with the group and do the rest of them, it's at least there for you to do that. So no, I like that. Something that was actually pointed out in the chat room by Ro, which I totally agree with, but it's kind of like retroactively putting you into like old raids. Having people still experience that content is putting pets in the old raids. One of my favorite things to do is the raiding with leashes achievements, and going through just soloing raids, seeing content and everything like that, killing things to try to collect all the different pets and stuff.
However, I would argue with you they did a very lousy job of getting you in game to go do that unless you knew what to look for, because the only place it's actually mentioned is in the patch notes, or if you happen to read the achievements. There wasn't anything
Mm-hmm.
to kind of kick you in that direction, and
True.
that's what that's what I think they need to do a little bit better job on. Some of this stuff is, well, we don't want to beat you over the head with it. We want you to find it naturally. No, go ahead, beat me over the head with some of this stuff, because like I would not have found islands expeditions or any of that if
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't a quest to go, hey, learn how to go do an island and go do all that. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think it actually has to be in your face for people to go do some of this stuff.
I'm gonna disagree a bit because I'm gonna disagree but agree at the same time. I think that's where we're at, but I don't think that's where we should be, because there was actually a really well thought out and I really enjoyed it Twitter thread today from a person I follow named Ethan McPhee, um, who does some writing for MMORPG.com and places like that, kind of talking about areas that he sees as kind of problem areas for WoW, and the way WoW has changed as a game and how players' perceptions either need to evolve with it or why we're going to constantly butt our heads against it, which
Yeah.
is this notion of it's no longer about world building and us being a fantasy RPG character that we develop and grow on our own in that world, that now it is a set experience that we control avatars that we move through. And I think that is what the game has turned into in a lot of ways. And I think that's kind of what Tet is saying as far as I need a breadcrumb to tell me where to go and engage with this content, because Blizzard has constructed, they're very big on design, and sometimes I think something can be a little over designed. And I think WoW has moved into this place where they have set some pretty clear expectations. This is what I do to get this. This is what I do to get this. I do this, then this, then this. Here is where I go. Here is where I progress through here. And they have done little things in the name of variety, as far as like, well, I can go do this quest or I can go do this quest. But generally speaking, you're following a linear flow. And occasionally, the kind of old style of the game kicks in, and they ask you to go out and explore and find something. And it's funny because back in vanilla, that's all we did. Nowadays, we're at a point where, like Ted said, where was my breadcrumb? How did I even know to go to this dungeon? I saw it on the list, so I had to look it up and find out where it is and all of that. Now it goes against that linear guided progression that they have kind of turned the game into, and all of a sudden we get thrown off by it because we've been trained to understand the flow and the order of the game. If I'm saying that and it sounds like a negative, it's probably because overall I personally think it's a negative. But I think that Blizzard has made a game that is the game that they've made, and I'm having fun with it. So it's not meant to be a full indictment of the game. It's not my preferred direction, but I think it's okay. But personally, I wouldn't mind if they actually stepped back away from it and said, no, we're going to do more stuff in this game where you need to just go figure it out. We're not going to give you a quest. We're going to just say, go explore, find it, and have fun.
Okay. So just a couple of points. I'm not saying that we need to be handheld to every single thing that's in the game. What I was saying is just it'd be nice if when there's a new system like islands or like war mode or things like that that may not immediately catch your eye, that there's at least some in-game mechanic to alert you to it, and usually that's the quest journal. Now with King's Rest, I agree, John, with you that it's nice to stumble upon it, except for, good Lord, where it's at, because it's actually inside what you would consider the dungeon area for one of the other dungeons. And there's very little that leads you up to that area except for Vol'jin's thing. And the problem is it's not on the dungeon list. So even if I went and said, oh, I want to see what dungeons are available, and I look through it, because it's a mythic only, it's not even on that list. So there's really, you would have to do exactly what you said, is go stumble upon it to find it. And it's a really cool instance. I just, like I said, I think it would have been nice, just something in game would have pointed you in that direction and said, hey, there's a mythic only dungeon over here, like they did on the Alliance side.
No,
But
I agree.
But I agree with you.
I think in this example, like, you're right, because stumbling upon a mythic only dungeon, there's not a reward in that. It's like, oh, there's a mythic dungeon here. Let me now make a note of where it is, go find 4 other friends who feel like running it right now, and then we can all meet up here later and do it. There really is no elegant, organic way to do that in this case, but I was using it as a platform to broach the wider subject of, it feels a little hand-holdy. I'm kind of
I agree. And like I said, I don't want hand-holdy or, very linear on rails, go here, go here, go here. What I'm saying is, I think they just need to do a better job of communicating. Hey, here's something we introduced in the game, and go explore it, and then let people develop from there. There's some of these systems that, unless you know they're there, or you've read the patch notes, or you go to Wowhead, or you go to MMO Champion, you won't, stumble across it naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple different ways to kind of crack this one. I mean, first of all, Quest Helper way back in the way is kind of the reason why we have so much of go here, do this in questing now.
Right.
It was an add-on that so many people were using that Blizzard's like, well, why don't we have this? And they started implementing it and everything. And a lot of the times, I'm perfectly fine with that, just because limited time, things like that. Sometimes you get lost, and especially that now everything is like either above or below you in some zones. It's really handy to know that if you're in at least the ballpark of where you're supposed to be, it's nice and handy. But like I agree with both of you, even though you're both essentially saying the same exact thing. So I guess
That's
we're
not
all
hard
in
to
agreement
do
here.
then. Yeah.
But it's nice that for certain new systems and things like that, there is a breadcrumb to be like, hey, this was added. Check this out. Island expeditions for all. Woo! War mode. There's a quest if you go down by the dock. If you go down by the dock. But the thing that really surprises me is that I would say that the three of us, and I mean all of our listeners, are people who really go out of their way to learn that information, to find out more stuff. Tet, you were saying, going to Wowhead or reading the patch notes and things like that. I mean, patch notes are great. They're probably the most accessible thing that's there for every player because, when you log in, it's just, hey, there's a patch and here's the notes. Whereas, outside websites, this show, anything like that, I mean, every single person who plays WoW doesn't listen to us. That's probably a good thing. But, I mean, we're part of I would say, a minority of the player base who actually goes outside of the game looking for some of these things. So I'm kind of curious as to how much of this stuff that they add in do people know about. Like, best example I can think of, when Turkey was found out, the Murloc pet, the one that's in Wrath of the Lich King stuff. It's super well hidden. I mean, I found out about it pretty much the second that other people did because I'm on Twitter. I'm following certain people. I've got people saying, Ben, there's a Murloc, and things like that. How much of the player base actually has something like that? Do they even know it exists? Is it something that they'll ever find because it's so well hidden?
I'm actually at a point where I'm using third-party sites to a minimum, I would say. Well,
yeah, same.
In some ways. There was a period of time, and again, I will always say good things about them, not just because I have found their site so useful in the past, and we've talked to them, and they're extremely nice people, but Ask Mr. Robot, I love their site. There was a good chunk of time where I didn't use it, because I didn't need to. I just played the game, and I got the gear, and I did whatever, and I didn't worry about it. And it was great. But Azerite gear has put me back in I don't care enough about the traits on Azerite gear to go where my heart tells me, because my heart isn't in it. I don't read any of the traits and go, man, I really want to use that one, but I'm just not sure if it's the best for my DPS. I read it and go, yeah, I don't care about any of these, so I guess I'll go to a site and just have them tell me which one's the best, because I don't particularly care. And I go to Ask Mr. Robot, and it says, pick this one, and I go, all right, you're a robot, you should know. And I pick it, and I go on about my life. So that is getting more use than it has probably since, Cataclysm days. But overall, I go to Wowhead to read spoilers because I'm invested in the story, and I just like, oh, there's spoilers? Going to Wowhead. Let's see what's coming out. And I get an idea of what's coming out, and I go, cool. And then that's it. Maybe.
See, I use Wowhead for transmog. Come on.
Nah, transmogs, you gotta find it in game. You gotta find the feel.
You just go for transmog. It doesn't matter.
I have an add-on for that actually, so that's fine.
What is it, Mog it?
Yeah, Mog it's great. You can build outfits. Mogget is great, but it sets up disappointment a lot. When you're like, yeah, look at this, and then it's like, this is for Druid that drops it, and you're like, Druid? Why are you showing me Druid crap? I can't use it at all.
Well, it's leather. You said leather.
And the other one is there was the time in Lich King where they did. It was just 2 different armor looks, whether you were Horde or Alliance. And we can only get the Horde look, and the Alliance look for rogues is so cool, and I like it a whole lot. So every time I'm going through Mog, and I'm like, the hell is that? And I get so excited, and I'm like, I can solo that down. Oh, Alliance only. It's that again. I got fooled again. So, I'm not using third-party sites a ton right now, but
I'm not either.
That could just be, I don't know if it's because I'm so plugged in. I don't feel plugged in, or
you can be entirely plugged in without like actively searching for stuff. I mean, think about your Twitter timeline and who you follow.
Yeah, but I don't feel like I'm getting good information from them. I just feel like I'm
okay
watching 2 camps form between people who are happy and people who are not.
True. Okay, think about people who tag you and stuff and say, hey, look at this.
Yeah. I don't know. I maybe the big thing for me, and I think this is probably actually it, is that right now the content that I'm enjoying, I know what it is, and I'm enjoying it.
Exactly.
And I know what my goals are, and I don't need any outside influence to do it. I will say, admitting it, I probably haven't logged in almost a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, just because I am at a point where it is kind of, I don't have enough time to really get into any activities I would really like to do, like running mythics and stuff like that. So right now my options really are world quests, just for rep, because that's all I care about at the moment. And I'm just like, ugh. And the big problem that killed me was the big overall reward for like a couple days in a row was, here's gold. And I was like...
700 gold, you're like...
Yeah, I was just like, I don't care. I don't care about this either. I'll let these days go by. And then I didn't end up logging back in. So, but, I am still having fun with it. But it is to a point where it's like, I kind of understand the flow of the game, and I'm not relying on a lot of outside sources at the moment either.
But we've also been playing this game for X number of years. Think about somebody relatively new to the game or coming back, from like they stopped playing after Mists of Pandaria because the next expansion didn't, and now they're trying to learn about all the new systems and stuff. The in-game explanation for all the new stuff isn't that great, and you have to rely on guild members, third-party sites, friends. Like, I can't tell you the number of times we've had to explain stuff in guild chat to people coming back and go, oh yeah, this does this, and they're like, well, what does that mean? And we're like, okay, wait a minute, we're using the Legion term.
Okay,
let me go back a couple expansions.
You're a Death Knight. Now what that means is
no, not that bad, but
although I will say I did have a lot of fun talking with a guildie who's returned, who actually did make a Death Knight and started leveling through Legion. And I must admit that I maybe oversold the Death Knight Order Hall story a little too much.
You
by saying
can't
that it was
oversell
really
it.
Awesome. So
you can't oversell it. It's that awesome.
No,
really
the Legion class stories can be oversold. They are...
No, it depends on the class, really.
They are cool at times, mixed in with a lot of looking at a board.
Yeah, but again, it depends on the class.
Sure.
Still, Hunters, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that one.
Yeah.
But, so...
as long as you get a punch a dragon at the end, it's all good.
So, Mr. Bitey's awesome. Anyways, one of the things about breadcrumb quests that always comes to mind whenever we talk about something like this is, what was I going to say? Oh, sorry. It's been a long day. Anyways, is Randy when he was on the instance and Wrath of the Lich King came out.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't go to Northrend for the longest time because there was nothing. Like, he was
thinking game told him to go.
Yeah. totally RPing is. Like, his character had no idea he was supposed to go there. He didn't know that there was another tower somewhere to go, wait for his Zeppelin for and stuff like that. And like, I love that. I love that he did that. It makes me so happy that I know him. But
Yeah.
it,
And they've gotten a lot better about that sort of thing,
Mhm.
as far as like, here's the continuation of the story. It's just the systems that I think they have some issues with.
thinking about that though, with the way that boosts are happening and stuff like that, do you think that maybe this is one of the reasons why I don't know, artifact weapons are just kind of a thing of the past, per expansion? I mean, I know there's a whole lot kind of more that goes into it, like, okay, well, the artifact was the cool thing for this expansion and everything, but it's not taking systems from a previous expansion and bringing it into a new one. I mean, it's garrisons are a thing of the past, artifact weapons are a
Thank
thing of
God.
the past.
I miss
get
mine.
in-
I want
I do too.
give me my artifact weapon back. I do not ever want to have to deal with weapon and shield drops again. Am I right, John?
No, you're absolutely right. Let me ask you this. Here's an interesting question for everybody to ask themselves, as well as you two here. When
Mhm.
you think about what you could do in Legion and what you can do right now, which character wins in a fight? Legion you or Battle for Azeroth you? Because I'm pretty sure Legion Eos would kick current Eos's ass.
Mm-hmm.
I will say this: leveling, just starting leveling the rogue with the artifact weapon as it is, and the legendaries that I have on. I walk up, look at a mob, and it falls over, and it's like, yeah, that's what you're used to, and then
For
you
now.
you level out of it, and then it's like, I hit you a few times. You should knock over now. Okay, finally it falls over.
And then 4 more things jump on you because
Right.
it took you too long.
And actually, John, I thought you were going in a different place with this, but looking back at Legion, and Legion started out really slowly, but you had the artifact weapon as your goal of this is what kind of I'm focusing on and I'm trying to do each day. I have to agree with what you said, I think, last week. I could give a rat's about the frickin' necklace because it just, oh, I got some azerite. Okay. Now what?
Now, like, serious question here. I'm not trying to, be incredibly like snarky with this, but if you could click on the azerite that you got, would it make it better?
No.
Like, that's to both of you.
I don't know. I wondered about that too because I was like, it's the most passive thing in the entire world. Like, even when you get it as a bonus roll, like, it kind of, which makes, honestly, they found a way to make failing your bonus roll even more annoying. Is
In gold, yes.
you don't even have an item to right click. It's like, you got nothing, and then you're like,
I
bonus
still
roll.
go to the
And
bag.
it's like,
Yeah, no,
me
I
too.
yeah,
I open
pop
it
up,
up
I
and
go to
I
the
look
bag,
for my
like-
nothing that I got. I'm like, where
Exactly.
is it? I'm 100% with you. I look for the crap that is not there.
Oh, look, it's a really cool treasure chest. Let's open it up. 5 war resources, 10 azerite power, and a gray item.
It's
I mean, Ben, I think it would short term, like it would scratch the itch, but it's not the solution for the lack of inner activity on the thing because all it does is enable the traits on the armor, which John, you went over last week, are like, it's a trait on an armor. I go to a third party site. I felt, pick it. It's not interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. There's so much of it that I would honestly get sick of clicking it. But that said, the part where I'm split is the moments where I'm like, well, where is it? I won, supposedly I spent 2,000 gold on this opportunity to reroll, and I got some BS azerite that I didn't want for that 2,000 gold. So let me at least click it or something. Do something.
I think
with
that's
it.
the other thing, that the fact that the bonus rolls are 2,500 gold or 250 war resources, like
I have that many war resources.
well, I mean, it's better than paying 5,000 gold.
Yeah, that's what I have to resort to.
You'll get there though, Ben. Eventually.
Yeah, you'll get there.
I know. The ones on
H2 and
Exalted.
4 in the in guild chat, wow, in Twitch chat, actually brought up a good point that I've heard mentioned is, like, would it make a difference if they took the traits off the armor and put them on the necklace, and then you had to enable them on the necklace, and then it empowered each armor piece? Would it make a difference? And I'm like, yeah, it kind of would, because
Well,
having
then you
them
have your artifact again.
right, exactly, which was you have it all in one place. Now it's like I've got three different pieces, and half the time once I've picked the trait, I forget about it. I don't even look at it again until, I level up the necklace, and it says, "Hey, you've got, a new slot open on this one." I'm like, "Great. Let's go do it." Okay, we're done.
Yeah, I will give credit. Gorillas in the chat said, as boring as azerite traits are, the sound it makes when you open and lock in traits are orgasmic.
Yeah.
I
I
will say
agree.
this. If you guys remember, leading up to Battle for Azeroth, I said that azerite gear was going to be the mysterious dropped feature of the expansion. Like the dance studio and other things where they're like, it's coming, and then it comes out and you go, wait, weren't they doing a thing? And then they're at some BlizzCon years later, they're like, yeah, we dropped it. And you're like, I knew it. I knew there was a thing I forgot about.
It's on the box.
I thought Azerite armor was going to be it, because every time they tried to talk about it, I went, the hell are they talking about right now? I couldn't understand it. I got the rough idea that it was going to be, head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Not those, though. And you were going to just pick traits on them. I kind of got that, but I didn't really understand how the system worked. And they have crafted a UI that is not only incredibly satisfying to use, but instantly made me understand how it worked. And I went, oh, I completely get this and understand this. That's what Blizzard's good at from their design and art aspect. I should finish my word if I'm going to cuss
You
and
should.
stop in the middle of it. From the aspect of art and design, they're very good at that. That's a case of something where maybe I don't like the feature, but I look at it and go, man, but look at how great it looks and sounds. It sure is satisfying. And
Yes.
even the whooshy ping of getting Azerite, I like that a lot too.
Oh, I'm happy with
Oh
that.
yeah.
That's
that
super
feels good.
satisfying. It's just everything else around it that I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the other. Go ahead.
Is this going to be the first feature that halfway through the expansion they're like, okay, we're done?
No,
I mean,
they've got too much. You've got too many systems built around it that they can't toss it in the middle of an expansion.
I also think it's close enough to being good that it doesn't need to be tossed. I think it's salvageable. Now, I will say this, take this for what you will, depending on how you feel. I'm not trying to throw shade at anyone, but based on what I have heard from the developers, I do not have faith that they are moving in the right direction. That's
You don't like the Mythic Plus token thing?
my personal take is that I don't think they fully understand the problems with the system, or at least what I consider fixes, they don't consider fixes, and they're moving in the direction they feel is best. I realized as I said that, it sounded like I was saying, I know more than all the Blizzard development team, and I don't
well, it
think
wouldn't be
that's
the first time
true.
you said that.
It's not the first time I've implied
Well,
it.
okay, the first time
So-
you implied it. That's right.
So, John, I know part of the solution that they're trying to implement is if you're targeting specific item pieces with specific traits, but and again, it's probably just me since we just raid friends and family normal. I am not that invested enough in the Azerite armor to go look up on a third-party site the piece that drops the best traits for a protection warrior, and that's what I need to be running the same Mythic Plus over and over to try and get, or use my bonus roll on this. Honestly, I'm treating Azerite armor right now as, oh, hey, look, it's a present that gets open. Let me look at the traits on this. Well, these kind of look better than what I've got. Let me go ask Mr. Robot. Nope, they're worse. Oh, well, they looked interesting. Okay, it's for the aspect. I think that's my problem with the system right now is I'm not engaged with the current way the system plays out.
So, being as, you're my raid leader, and I'm kind of a co-raid leader, kind of at this point.
No, you are the co-raid leader.
Okay, well then in that case, yay. um, should I say that I never check to see what traits I should pick? I don't care. I'm just
No,
like,
that's the
No,
answer.
Yeah.
that's the answer because
Yeah.
like for mine on the taking armor, it's basically I can tell really, it's a little bit tougher with DPS, John. I completely agree.
yeah, you have
But
4 to choose from as opposed to 2 like we have. And
but
for
on
a
the
healer, one's DPS, the second one is to heal. So that's my choice.
Yeah, no, it's you get the generic trait or you get the protection one. Now on DPS you get the generic one, which is probably DPS related, and you get the DPS specific one. So yeah, there's a little bit more choice there. But from a healer and from protection ones, it's like there really isn't a choice. You just take the one that is for your spec.
The second ring is always like, okay, do you want to not die as fast or do you want to be able to run away from stuff? I'm like, well, I need to heal everyone else, so let's just not die as fast today.
Yeah, I would say that that's the core problem, and that's the reason why nothing they've said so far has convinced me that they're on the right path for it, is because, again, I feel like it's a system that could potentially be really solid, and potentially a lot of fun. The problem is they've told me what they're doing that they think will fix elements of it. But what they haven't been able to sell me on is why I will care. And that's the first hurdle I have to get over, is
Okay.
I have to care about azerite. And I don't. I don't care about it as a resource. I don't care about it on my necklace. I don't care about it in my gear. And I don't care about any of the traits it offers. There is no part of the system that I care about. They need to get me to at least buy into some of it, and then I will care about the minutia of how to min-max it. But if my answer is, I don't care, them saying we've come up with all these ways for you to hone in on the traits you want, I don't want any of the traits, because I don't care about any of it. So they're a level too deep for me already, because they need to get me into the system to begin with.
Okay, so here's my question, and I went down the same path. The problem is, are you doing anything content-wise that you are consistently failing at over and over?
No.
Logging in.
I mean,
No, I mean running the Mythic Plus.
but
so
we
you see
have
where I'm
had
going
some
with
close
this?
calls on Mythic Plus. But I do see what you're saying, that getting the right traits could be the thing to get you over the hump, to push you forward in the content that you want to move forward in.
Right, but if you're not failing on the content you're on, then any choice seems to work, right?
Right.
So I think that's honestly why I don't think they're that engaging, because I don't think the traits make that much of a difference for the content. At least I think the three of us are running, that we need the best in slot trait to be successful.
Well, here's the thing. If it comes to the point where it is a best in slot trait,
I'm best
whatever.
in trot. All.
Yeah,
Best in trout.
I am the best in trot. Anyways, if it comes to the point where there is a best in slot trait and that's what we're hunting for and everything like that, why don't they just bake it into the spec? Because if the idea is that they need to make the traits interesting so that people are chasing after them, it should just be part of the spec, like they did with the artifact weapon, or the revamp that they did with all the different legendaries, how there's specific traits that you need to have and actually to be competitive. I mean, granted, right now, yeah, Tet, you and I, we're running normal raids and doing pretty good with that. We don't need best in slot, who cares? But someone who, if they're running mythic raids and constantly doing like mythic plus dungeons and things like that, if you're like hunting for a trait that, from what I've seen, doesn't really seem to do that much, then bake it in.
No, I know, and I think the chat rooms. It's funny because the chat room's taking the devil's advocate of, if they did make too much difference, then they'd be screaming that they weren't getting that trade on that gear and stuff like that.
No, and that's true. That's I
agree with it. And so this is the catch-22 I think Blizzard's put themselves in, is they've designed a system that's not John, as you said, it's not even accidentally entertaining.
Yeah, and that's the thing is we have seen them make moves as a company to how can we get the most people to enjoy this content we're putting out? How do we put out content that everyone gets to enjoy rather than, you know, the 5% of players that do the rating, the highest level rating gets to enjoy? And they still do things for those people that are at the highest level. But when you tell me that the way they're looking at the azerite gears to help you figure out which pieces you're going to get and make it easier to get the right ones that you're looking for, that to me says we're speaking to the people that are in the min-maxing boat. And that's not everybody. That hasn't been me for a long time, and I don't anticipate it being me ever again, because it's just not a way I enjoy the game. For me and other people like me, you need to get me interested about the system to begin with. And I think Ben's right. If it comes to pure power, I'd like to see that be built into the necklace, something we all have and we can all potentially get and work towards. And maybe save the azerite stuff for cool powers that are just going to be fun things that I actually do want to seek out.
Yeah.
Because what gets me to say, oh man, this piece of azerite gear drops from this dungeon, have it give me an ability that sounds freaking great. You know, I will go and I will run that dungeon a million times over if what I'm getting is cool enough. But to say, well, when you hit something, you're going to attach a globule, and when you get up to 30 globules, you'll do extra damage. I don't care. I don't want to hear about your globules. They're not interesting to me. I don't even get to see the globules that I'm adding. If they started to look like they were getting big warts all over them and then they exploded, maybe we're making progress. But it's just a little debuff up on them that I go, yep, it's almost at 30. Gonna see a DPS increase today. There it is. Like, that's not fun. That's not a great time. So I just would like to see... Right now, here's my analogy. Right now, it feels like they're telling me how they're going to redecorate the bar. And they're telling me all about how this bar is going to be the best bar I've ever visited. And, you know, something I know a whole lot about, bars. And it's going to have...
You go to jail so often.
Not that kind of bar. So they're going to have the right atmosphere, and it's going to have everything I want in a bar. But right now, I can't even get in. I can't even go to it. I'm not interested. You got to get me in the door before I care about the atmosphere. So that's all I'm asking, is find a way to pull me in. Find a way to get me in the door, and then we'll figure out how I feel about the atmosphere once I'm inside.
Okay, John, I have an idea. So what if the second ring, you know, the first one's obviously a DPS increase or healing increase or protection, you know, mitigation.
It's not even really an increase.
I know, but just go with me here. Let's say it is.
Okay.
What if the second ring was, hey John, you can now use your grappling hook twice without a cooldown?
Hell yes, I would go get that piece right now. I would be calling
or you can
all
vanish
my friends.
twice. Yeah, or you can vanish twice before it goes on cooldown. Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can torpedo 20 times in a row. Yeah.
Ben, you can roll 4 times.
That's so much rolling.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, just see, and that's the thing. It's not necessarily a power increase, again, unless you use it, you know, strategically in a dungeon, but it's just little quality of life things. Like, you know, there was a legendary that let me heroic leap an extra 2 times before it went on cooldown, so I could heroic leap like 3 times. I always wore that.
Hopscotch in dungeons.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, or hey, now you can charge 4 times before it goes on cooldown instead of just 2. You know, those type of things. Then the armor's starting to look interesting to me. But I think you're right, John. We're so used to getting gear that increases our DPS throughput or our healing throughput or our mitigation that it's not interesting to us.
Well, and it's funny because Blizzard completely changed the way that they did talents, you know, a few expansions ago to something where, you know, there's choice and it's, you know, it's supposed to work with your gameplay style, you know, so you get to choose this talent, or this talent, and they're all like some sort of stun, but they do different things, and you just pick whatever, you know, works with you. Granted, they min-max that too, you know, high-end players min-max everything. That's just how it's going to be. But now we're getting a lot of, you know, choices of, okay, make this stat more or make this stat more. So it's like come full circle from we want to make fun, interesting choices to, hey, we're making you more powerful again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it almost feels like, why don't we go back to the old talent tree and then we can have something every time we level again?
Yeah, and I pointed it out to Saisri, but you guys remember her legendary cloak that would let her res once automatically when
Oh
she
yeah,
died in raid. I
and
said,
it
what
didn't
if that
count
was on a second
against.
ring? Yeah, she's like, oh, give me that in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Oh no,
absolutely.
that was a great
And
thing
I mean,
too.
there's so many cool things they could do. They could even do a thing where the Azerite gear is infused with the power of other classes. I remember one of my favorite things, and I don't know how we always talk about this when Ted is on the show, but it is a coincidence. One of my
Boxes?
favorite things about the Old Republic is when you level up a character to max and complete their story, and you make a new character and they're tied to that family, they gain an heirloom ability. So you
Yes.
can be a Jedi Knight that has a freaking Mandalorian bounty hunter gauntlet on their wrist and can shoot a flamethrower at people.
Everybody
That's
needs one of
freaking
those.
cool. Like, it would be awesome if we could inherit abilities from other classes through Azerite gear. There's so much possibility. That's where I butt heads with the, it's a 2% DPS increase, because it's so boring compared to the
I
potential that exists out
completely
there.
agree. I think that's it. I think you're right. I think the Azerite gear itself, the unless you're running again, unless you're that top 1% and running stuff where you need that 2% DPS increase, for the majority of people, it's just not interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I like that Blizzard is relooking at it. I like that they're promising that they're going to change the traits. They're going to make them more tempting and stuff like that. And looking at it and trying to rework it while it is current is one of the hardest challenges that they actually have. And I appreciate that they're doing that, but make it fun. Like that's what I want so much. And I mean,
Well,
I'm enjoying so much of the game that like the main trait, I want it to be fun. I want, crazy stuff to happen. Like okay, so just go with me on this. I love playing an enhancement shaman when I play it because I have an AoE that makes lightning come down and it looks really I feel like I'm Thor at the end of Thor Ragnarok when he's flying into that mob of zombies and there's just lightning everywhere. And the more mobs that are around, the bigger it is and it's crazy and cool looking and stuff. And that is the funnest thing of playing that class to me.
I agree.
I want more of that in everything that I play in this game.
Yeah.
Like so one of the saddest things that happened was when we lost all of our artifact traits. I hit revival, and remember how I told you guys about how all of a sudden there's a crazy giant green cloud serpent above my head every time I do that,
Yep.
and I was always so happy and everything. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's no fun. I hit revival, and there's barely a health increase on everybody, and I'm just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, I think honestly, if they would look at what the legendaries did from Legion and apply that same logic to one of the rings on the Azerite armor. Because remember, you could only wear two legendaries. So in this case, you've
Mm-hmm.
got three pieces of armor. So maybe they, don't do it on the head, or maybe they tone them down a little bit, but they're still interesting. I think if they did something like that, it would make that armor more interesting again.
Make it fun.
Yeah.
Second ring is fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is they have to find it. And Ben, you're 100% right when you say that we're in the middle of an expansion. They launched the system feeling, what I would assume is feeling good about it,
Mm-hmm.
and felt like it was in a good place, and said, let's see what players do with it. Let's see what players think of it. And let's see where it goes. And there's been plenty of feedback, good and bad,
Yeah.
that has come out of all of this, and people definitely have an opinion. And I really respect that they are trying to go back and they are trying to make good on it and say, let's find it out. My hope is, and it's always my fear every expansion, is it's what I both love and sometimes fear from Blizzard, which is I love that they're willing to jump into this expansion and say, we're trying all new things. We haven't done Azerite gear before.
Agreed.
We're gonna give it a go and see how it goes. Sometimes I feel like the lessons they take away from it are not indicative of what the system actually was. So, for example, if we get to the next expansion and it's just gone, maybe that's ultimately best for the game. It's too early for me to tell, but I see potential here. I feel like what we've talked about today touches at some of the potential that a system like that could have. And if they can't get it done for this expansion, I would be very curious to see what they could do with it for another expansion. But sometimes they say, no, it didn't work. Time to cut our losses and move on. I feel like garrisons are a good example of that.
Yeah.
Everybody loved garrisons at first, and then everybody hated it like it's the worst feature that ever existed in the history of WoW. I feel like that scared them away from potentially turning that into a cool thing. I still think some form of player housing, some form of, or a ship, would be super cool and could do some amazing things for this game. And I worry sometimes that the lesson they took away from garrisons was don't do anything like that ever again. And I don't think that's necessarily the answer either.
Man.
Yeah, because I mean, right now they went from garrisons with a mission table to class order hall with a mission table to a ship docked in the harbor with a mission table that yes you do use to get to the other continent, but if the ship would actually like pull out of the harbor with you on there, they'd be like a quarter of the way there, but it's just like boom, teleport. Okay, I'm at
It's so
the ship.
sad.
The ship didn't come with. How did I get here?
I want
You
a
know?
ship.
Yeah.
I want a
No,
ship
exactly.
so bad.
After the order hall and having like these grand, extravagant places that you get to go, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, cool, I got a ship. This is great. And then it's the barest, at least a horde side, it is the barest ship possible. I mean, it's like, oh, it looks like it's old wood. Okay, cool. There's nothing really below decks at all. There's like, oh, there's what, Gallywix just sitting there, or Gazlo, or whoever. I forget. I mix up.
No,
gods
it's
now.
Gallywix is sitting there and the cobwebs. But if you go down below, then you how far have you gotten on the
Yeah, there's a cool thing on the ship.
I haven't done 5 island expeditions yet, Ted.
No, not that. How far have you gotten on the storyline, the war
Oh,
campaign?
I'm all the way up through Revered.
Okay, so you know
Okay.
about the coffin that's on the ship.
Oh, I didn't even know that was on the ship.
Yeah, it's on the ship.
Yeah, it's on the ship.
Yeah, no breadcrumb quest.
I like to
or
go
something.
look in
No,
it
no,
just
you
to
gotta
remind
go
myself.
looking for. Yeah, exactly. You have to go look for that
Okay.
coffin and
'Cause
find that out. But
I finished.
John, did you notice that there's 2 NPCs below deck that are also above deck?
Oh no, I didn't think about that. Really?
Lillian Voss and um the one they resurrected from the
Yeah,
town.
because I've
They're
seen them below deck before, but I just assumed they relocated up top. I didn't know they were in both places at the same
they're
time.
in both
They
places.
just run
Yeah.
really fast to get there before you.
Man.
Yeah, no, they're doing the weapons training down on the dummies down below deck, and then up above deck they're standing up there. So
Lillian
yeah,
Voss is a good rogue.
she is.
She's really good.
She's just shadow stepping. Where she
Okay,
wants to
so something positive. I love the fact that you can right click on the NPCs as part of the story campaign and say, "So, why are you here?" And
Yeah,
they will
that's
actually tell you
fantastic.
the story. That's awesome. That is a much needed piece of lore, story, whatever you want to call it, that I love they did.
Like, especially with Rexar. Like, why are you here? There's no reason for you to be here. With oh, okay,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Uh,
And I gotta say, I know that we're not, whatever. Hopefully, you've gone this far, if you're listening. But Lillian Voss and her role in the Horde quest line is so good.
It's
Yeah,
I
very
love it.
good.
I just, if you don't know why it's so good, start an undead, play through the first 2 zones of undead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I
first 3,
was
just 'cause it's
asked
good.
during that whole, ask me my top 5 of anything. Someone said, what's your 5 favorite zones in WoW? Still number 1, Silver Pine Forest. It is my favorite zone in the game. From a lore perspective, aesthetically, it's very good.
They're
I
fantastic.
really like that zone a lot.
I agree.
So Lillian Voss is one of my favorite characters. I really like her. I'm really curious to see what they do with her. They'll probably kill her off because, uh, you know, I feel like for all the trolling I did about the burning of that stupid tree, something's coming. Well, no, Blizzard's
It's
gonna.
just Lillian Boss being killed. There's like, see
Blizzard's
this?
probably got a lot of trolling planned for me anyway. I don't
Yeah,
I don't know
exactly. With a
what
certain
they'll
statue
do,
behind you.
but I'm pretty sure that the fact that the burning of Teldrassil is the background of my phone right now, I'm pretty sure I'm already going to get paid back 100 times over for that. So I'm pretty sure bad things are in my future.
So what's going to happen is we go to BlizzCon and a couple Blizzard employees just pull you to the side and beat you with like socks full of oranges. That's what's going to happen.
That could
It
be.
doesn't happen in game. It'll be fine.
That still wouldn't be as bad as some of the things that I think they could do, but
Man,
Who
audio
knows? Who
listeners,
knows?
you're missing out.
I know that was a purely visual joke. Sorry, audio listeners. You're like, people are just like, what's John
So-
talking about? I was
Just real
pointing.
quick, where have you two gotten on the Alliance side of the war campaign?
I got
I
to the
started
city.
Dressbar.
Okay, so
John,
neither of
Ted?
you have gotten that far into the story.
I had a tea party with a little creepy girl.
I got to the town and they wanted to arrest the people, and I was like, no. And the harbor master came out, and then he told me a really long story, and then I logged out of the game.
John, you should have a tea party, a really creepy one with a creepy little girl.
I have
It's
done
great.
all of the Alliance dungeons as an Alliance character, though.
Yeah, but the war campaign and the story to travel with Jaina and what happens is definitely worth the storyline. So that's, if you haven't done that, I'd say that's as interesting toward war campaign.
Oh, I don't care what Jaina gets up to.
Wait, Jane is on the Alliance side?
Jaina can go lift a boat.
So
She's on
speaking
the
of
boat.
Jaina, just real quick, John, the blood elf armor. Did you notice for the females the gloves, the gauntlets on that have the claws?
No.
Yes,
Very,
the
I'm very excited about
the blood.
this.
Yeah, the blood elf armor has the same gauntlet types that Jaina has, so it has the claws.
Oh, that's so cool. I love claw gauntlets. I don't know if they're practical at all, but I love them so much. All right, I'm stoked about that. Yeah, if anybody hasn't seen the Blood Elf Heritage armor that's getting added soon, you should check it out. It's very good. So
Yeah, it's solid.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited about a lot of stuff. Some stuff I'm trepidatious about, we'll say. But I'm excited about most of it. I'm sure we will talk about all that stuff as it becomes okay to talk about those spoilers when they get here. But I mean,
and
I
even
know
more
them.
so,
I looked them up.
I am super excited to find out more stuff about what's happening next week when we try to predict what's going on at BlizzCon.
Oh, look at Ben with the transition.
Yep. So until next week, hey Tet, thank you very much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure as always.
Thank you for having me. I love being on and talking about all things World of Warcraft.
Man, that hour went by so fast.
I was just thinking that this was a really quick episode. Like, you started that, and I was like, "What? You know, we're gonna have to end the show if we're gonna start this, Ben. But okay, if you insist."
Well, Tet, until next time we have you on, where can people find you?
If they want to follow me, I am on Twitter at Ivory Tiger. I also do every 2 weeks, we do the AIE podcast. Just head over to aie-guild.org and links are there. And find me in game. I'll be on one of many tunes leveling up because now I got to get a blood elf to 120 for the heritage armor. And I need to level up a certain priest because of something that's coming up in 8.1 that I won't spoil. So,
Okay. Now I'm curious. Because I haven't looked at any of that stuff, so cool.
I will
John?
just say it deals with an artifact weapon, and that's it.
Oh, holy crap. I know which one that would be, because there's only one that would matter with. So cool. Well, in that case, John, where can people find you?
Hey, if you want to hear more from me, follow me on Twitter. I'll let you know where I'll be. That's at John_Jagger. If you want to hear me talking about Heroes of the Storm, you can catch me on Core.
Core!
It's part of the Frog Pants Network. It is a Heroes of the Storm show. It's myself, Scott, Bo. We have a great time talking about heroes, but also with those two, plus Kyle and Kristen, we do a little D&D show called There Will Be Dungeons. We're going to record that Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, as we usually do. And that's a fantastic time. I would encourage people to come on the journey with us, because it is an adventure in a Mad Max-style world. Like if Mad Max and Lord of the Rings had a weird baby, and it was a Canadian baby. That's what this show is like. It's a lot of fun, and check it out. Therewillbedungeons.com for more information about that. Ben?
Yeah, that Canadian baby. Okay.
A Canadian baby between Mad Max and Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, okay.
Who is the Lord
Sure.
of the Rings? Is it Sauron?
No.
Is this Anyway, Ben, where can people find you?
Best place to find me is I'm on Twitter. I am at Ben the Mage. If you like hearing what I have to say about stuff and also like battle pets in the World of Warcraft, I do a show with Eludra called Battle Pets, where we talk about battle pets in the World of Warcraft. It's super simple because,
Battle pets.
it's in the title, really.
Do they have to say it that way if they talk about the show?
Oh, no, not at all. You
Like,
can say it
if-
however you want.
If someone's talking about it and they go, Jerry! And he goes, what? And they go, you like the pets in the World of Warcraft, don't you? And he goes, yeah, I love them. And they say, well, there's a podcast I'm listening to about it. It's called Battle Pets. Do they have to say it like that?
No, they don't have to sound like Boba Fett.
Battle Pets?
Metal pets.
Lisa needs braces.
Yeah. Anyways, this show, Azeroth Roundtable, you can find us on Twitter. We are at AzerothRT. If you have any questions, comments, want to email us and see what's going on, you can always email us. Send that to AzerothRoundtable@gmail.com. All of our episodes are found on AzerothRoundtable.com, as well as on iTunes, TuneIn. Still need to put us on Spotify. I haven't done that yet. I've been busy, but I'll get there. But we also stream Friday nights. That's right. Every Friday. Currently, it is 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. Pacific. I almost changed it for Daylight Savings Time, which hasn't happened yet.
Soon, though.
Yes, soon.
It always turns into a real cluster right after BlizzCon, because it always happens during BlizzCon, and then we get back, and it's all confusing.
Yeah, well, after the week after BlizzCon, we're going to be at normal time, and then after that, it'll be an hour earlier, because
all right.
people, they commit to a certain time, and, well, Arizona is the only, or one of the very few smart states that doesn't actually change their time.
Let's not call Arizona a smart state.
No,
But
in
let's
regard
say
to
in this
Daylight Savings
instance,
Yes.
they have figured,
Only-
they have stumbled upon something. It's their 12 o'clock.
Yeah, everything else is crazy. But anyways. So yeah. And of course, as I said, next week we are having our BlizzCon prediction show. It is a tradition. We are going to be having on Ro as usual. And we are also going to be bringing on Thorn this year.
Ooh.
And John's going to be running that. And we're going to see how that competition goes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to donning my crown and judging a new winner in the most thoughtful of ways. Hey, everybody, we've reached the end of the show. This is the part where I tell you that because of people like you, possibly literally you, who have gone to patreon.com/AzerothRT, you've supported this show. You've done it. Congratulations and welcome. And we want to thank you. We want to thank you all, and then we want to send an additional thank you to the Murloc Club. That is Aaron Samdi, Frasley S, Haster, Jim G, Crin, and Sash H. Thank you so much for being part of the Murloc Club. One of the bonus things that I can't commit to because it requires Ben, but I really want to make Ben watch a scary movie this month, and we would do a podcast about it.
Yeah, I would do that. Like a commentary track? Or just we watch a scary movie and then talk about it?
Well, here's what I was kind of thinking, Ben.
Because, you didn't tell me about this at
I
all
know,
beforehand.
this is live planning right here, and then I want people to write in and be like, you guys got to do it, and then Ben feels guilty because of all the times he didn't respond to emails.
No, I already said yes, I'd do it.
So, okay, I was thinking, have you seen Halloween, the original?
No,
Okay,
I haven't.
I was thinking commentary for Halloween, and then we go see Halloween.
The hardest part of that is finding the time. But I will do my best. I've already committed to it, so I've got to do it. So
It might not be in October, but we'll see what we can do.
yeah.
Especially because I think there's a couple of Star Wars movies you guys still need to do a show on.
I have no idea what you're talking
I
about.
don't know about that. I don't know about any Star Wars movies.
Or Avengers. No.
There's not been any movies until
Movies don't come out, Ted.
I don't know. We'll try and find a way to, with the BlizzCon thing, that might be tricky, but maybe, I don't know. It's usually a crazy time. Maybe we can sneak away at BlizzCon or something and watch a movie. I don't know when we're gonna have time to do that. We'll see.
I honestly don't think we'll have time for that.
I don't know. I had time last year to go watch a movie. It was fun. It was actually
Yeah,
a
but it
really
was-
nice break.
But it was during Disneyland, and you know that you just can't rip me away from Disneyland.
We'll see.
No, that's not gonna happen.
We'll see what happens.
Hey, John,
Yes.
look at what Bim posted in chat.
What did Ben post in chat?
What did I put? Oh, Bim posted in chat, not Ben.
Gauntlet
'Cause
close
I-
up
I'm
for
in-
John. Ooh, a picture of the spiked gauntlet. And
Ooh,
it happens to be on Sylvanas.
nice.
Bim, you truly know the way to my heart. Thank you.
And with that, we'll figure out something extra for this month and what not. But everybody, thank you very much for joining us, especially the chat room. You guys were nice and lively tonight. We always appreciate that. Tet, you're a great guest as always. John, it's a pleasure talking to you every week.
Hi,
And,
Ben. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm closing the show. Not
Oh,
over.
okay. Goodbye, Ben.
All right. And everybody else, be good to each other. And we'll see you at BlizzCon. Well, actually, I should say that next week. We'll see you next week. And then at BlizzCon.
We'll be here for a BlizzCon prediction episode. You know, the sound of a prediction episode.
Hey, Ben,
Yes.
Thorne just wanted me to say, bye, Felicia.
Whoa.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not letting you end the show on that. So, bye, everybody.
Bye, Felicia.
Oh, I already stopped the podcast.
Ah, crap. Well, fine. Guess what? It was still on the YouTube episode.
And it's still recording, isn't it?
Tet, I will let you. I'll let you do it. Tet, go.
Bye, Felicia.